Oh, we're off to the races, boys. We're in it. Not a whole lot of time for this started soon screen. We gotta get in it. We have to get to it. Hi, everybody. Hello. My name is Matthew. You can call me Newfable. Today we're trying to do like we did last Sunday. We're trying to do what we did last Sunday, which was read through TTRPG. Then it was Daggerheart. I had the exact same idea to do that from yesterday's stream. I just thought, I'll just do that. That'll be fine. That'll be great. I'm going to turn down this volume of a spot of spoofy as we're listening to some chill jams. There we go. That's fine. That's good. That's good. But yeah, like that ended in a kitty emergency. Tato is fine. Tato is good. Although now she's a little perturbed because me and the beautiful fiance just walked in through the door and she's just like, "Hi, where have you been?" "Love me!" And we're off doing our own things. But she'll be okay. She'll be okay. She'll be okay. Although today there's surprise thunderstorms where we are. In the off chance that the stream suddenly ends and I don't even have time to be like, I gotta go, it's probably because we lost power. So that could happen today. Man, these Sunday streams are just getting cursed. And I don't want it to happen because we're looking at a really good one today. What I think would be a really good one called Between Clouds. This is a TTRPG that is, as far as I know, an indie. I haven't heard much about this one, save for that Andy Licht is the artist, designer, and writer for this game. It's a one-stop shop of talent. So we're going to be looking at their work and just giving first impressions. So this is off-the-shelf, off-the-cuff thoughts from me. And so you know who me is. Let me give everybody my credentials. I've been running tabletop role-playing games now for maybe about the past 5 years, maybe the past 4. I started running Fantasy Age, and I really liked that game system, but there were some things that I had some issues with, and I kept pulling from D&D to like make Fantasy Age kind of work for my group. And I said, well, I'm already pulling a lot from there. Does everybody want to play that? They said, sure. I started running 5e. Then I started running it professionally. And then I started to really dislike the system. And the OGL stuff happened and all of that. And while I had a passing fancy at indie games that had come out with the idea that nobody wants to play them, nobody wants to look at them, the OGL was the perfect lightning strike that the entire industry needed to start shopping around. So I did, and I've been looking around at other RPGs. I've been playing a lot of other ones. My current favorite is Fabula Ultima, and after this stream, we'll be ending this stream when it's done, and then starting another smaller stream that might be about anywhere from, maybe 30 minutes to an hour, going over the Game Master section of Fabula Ultima and telling you about some of my experiences running that. So I've run a couple of different systems, D20s mostly, but D6 pools, dice pairs, dice pools in general, a bunch of different stuff. I've played in a lot of other games as well, and it's a lot of fun. And I love indie games because this is where all of the, in my eyes, a lot of the talent is that is unsung, and a ton of inspiration and a ton of innovation. As a lot of indie game designers are looking what's already out there and saying, how about we just do it this way? And so there's a lot to learn from, checking out if the grass is greener in other lawns outside of D&D or Pathfinder. Excuse me. This got really emotional. But yeah, so those are my credentials. I also feel the need to give my credentials concerning LGBTQ+ and the queer community at large. Because I believe this is a very, I'm not sure, but from what I have seen a little bit of it, this is a very queer positive, LGBTQ+ positive game. It's very forward about that. So I feel it necessary because my experiences are already coloring my interpretation of things and how I'm looking at stuff. I am a which may or may not be surprising by my voice. I am a straight, cisgendered white man. Flat out. I am not a member of the LGBTQ plus community. I'm not an honorary member. I know some people in the community. I know some people in the queer community, some people that are on the sexuality spectrum at all different points. But I myself I'm straight as they come. I'm very welcoming and open to anybody on that, on the sexuality and gender spectrum. Doesn't bother me in the slightest. But it's necessary to know that so that that will color a lot of opinions that I might have about either the entirety of this game or certain sections of this game. And that's worthwhile so that you can watch and judge responsibly, whether you think I'm talking out of my ass or whether you think that I might make a good point or not. Either way, I think this game is good enough that you should try to judge it on your own merits, as I just kind of flip through this and kind of go through it lightly and touch on some of the systems and the way they do things in order to figure out what this game is even about. Because I'm itching to read it. The artwork is gorgeous. And so for those that don't know, I'm actually going to just do page fit to give the whole cover. This is the cover. This is the front cover of this thing. Very big Avatar: The Last Airbender energy. And it's given a reference here, which even says, like, without that, this game wouldn't even exist. Like, just would not be a thing. But I believe the entire point of this is you play as... your character is, I believe they're called a symbiote, or a symbiote. You have powers and all sorts of crazy things that you can do as a form of expression of your person, or might have been like an accident or something that happened to you and you're just kind of going with the flow. But everybody has a large creature that they ride around on called a Kirin. And I believe that Kirin is controlled by the Game Master. It's sort of their character. So the players will like make all of that stuff up as they go, do this thing, and yeah, it's just like adventures in the sky islands, that whole thing. That's all I know. I might be very incorrect in my thinking so far, but let's get it big again so we can actually read what the hell it is that we're reading. Because it can be very small, potentially, on your devices. Credits. Between Clouds, that might be too big. Let's unbig it a little bit. Yeah, Andy Licht, original concept, writing, design, and illustration. Everything amazing. Everything out. That's not a whole lot of playtesters. That's real tight. That's great. Not necessarily a bad thing. It's a good number of playtesters. That's just really, really tight. That's cool. I wonder if this was like the same group of people that got the same drafts like over and over and over again. Acknowledgements. Game is built on the foundations laid by many role-playing games before it, borrowing directly and spiritually from each other. Tales from the Loop, yeah. Mutant Year Zero, both of which use the Year Zero engine, the system this game is modeled after. Really good engine. That's a Free League engine. Free League Publishing, I don't think they own the engine, but I think the idea behind those is the same with Vaesen and Canal Obscura, which I've read, both of which are you're going to get a pool of d6s and roll and hope for at least a 6 or a 5 or a 4 or something along those lines. But we'll see what they do here. Blades in the Dark, excellent design and philosophies around play, absolutely. Blades in the Dark is fantastic. Apocalypse World, first lasting impact, absolutely. Dream Askew and Dream Apart by Avery Aller and Benjamin Rosenbaum, who charitably offer the framework for other belonging outside belonging games to exist. Huh. Never heard of that. That's cool. Avatar: The Last Airbender. Because this game wouldn't exist without Sky Bison. Yep, absolutely. Here we go. Yeah, 2023. Woo! Yay! Alrighty, let's keep going. Imperia. Well, I guess, yeah, let's just check out the setting first. Between Clouds is a game about a family of mutants and their beloved flying beast working to preserve fragile ecosystem among the skies. They will travel from one location to the next, rescuing precious wildlife, sabotaging industrialists, and finding acceptance in each other's company. There are sweeping vistas, campfire dinners, swashbuckling sword fights. I really kind of like that. Don't know why. Give me Sky Pirates with like, where the ship is like a living creature, like a whale or something like that. That just sounds cool to me. Storms, villains, jailbreak schemes, and otherworldly abilities. Okay. I'm down. Oh, you'll have to excuse me every now and again. I didn't have enough time to make a tea because I know I'm just going to be talking for a lot, so we're working with the stout. The setting. The game takes place above the clouds on the planet of Imperia. The world is post-collapse, set in the aftermath of humanity's golden age, in a time where humans have fled into the skies and away from the poisonous surface below. Centuries or millennia have passed since then. Now, old world technologies lie in disrepair, rusted and weathered, requiring constant maintenance. Factions vie for power, raising forests and leveling mountains. This is no grim apocalypse, however. Green natural life grows wherever it can find purchase. Moss-lined outposts, humble gardens, and mountaintop meadows give hope for the future. The world is also biopunk. That means that through biology, all things are possible. The citrate comes in a little glass vial. Animals frequently develop mutations and bizarre qualities. Plants, fungi, and coral grow at alarming rates and in titanic proportions. Fish, whales, squids, and sharks drip through the open air as if it were water. Humans take advantage of these new flora and fauna, treating them as both a resource and allies. Boats, hoverbikes, and cities are held aloft by the remains of floating creatures. Oh my god, that's a cool idea. Oh, jeez, that's metal as hell. Illuminated insects serve as makeshift light bulbs. Messenger hawks deliver reports from far-off places. Humans must learn to coexist in this way or face yet another collapse. Between Clouds takes place in this setting because it represents a second chance, both for our protagonists and society at large. If humans can shed their old desires for excess, conquest, and control, a verdant new world awaits them. Very cool. I like this. And then the Kirin! Wow. What fuck? Between Clouds is centered around immense flying mammals known as Kirin. They are creatures of mythical proportions and masters of the natural world, feared by humans and hunted for their resources. Our players have formed bonds with a Kirin and must create one for their family beginning on page 30. Players, they assume the role of symbiotes, colorful outcasts who have formed symbiotic links with a Kirin. Okay, that's why they're symbiotes. Their powers come from the Kirin. Fascinating, that's cool. I like that. They are shunned by society, often labeled as miscreants and anarchists. Through their Kirin, the players gain access to biological abilities that would give them an edge against poachers and industrialists. Okay. And then the family. The symbiotes and their Kirin together create a found family. They share a biological connection, as well as a spiritual bond. In a world that fears symbiotes and Kirin, they are each other's home. The storyteller is the game master. Okay, so they paint the scene and take on the role. They also take on the role of the Kirin itself, as well as any non-player characters that the players may encounter. Storytellers say it's final, but imagining the world of Imperia is something that each player should participate in. Yes. Participating, there's no right or wrong. You know, we kind of know all this stuff. Yeah. Okay, so getting started. Anything else that we need? Yourself, 3 to 5 friends. A printed Between Clouds play kit. Oh, okay. Includes character sheets and more. Oh, okay, that's nice. Pencils, erasers, plenty of 6-sided die. At least 2 different sets. Like colors? Musical ambiance. Always necessary! Ooh, I wonder if the Avatar Last Airbender soundtrack would be good ambiance. Maybe, maybe not. It's really... For like a biopunk setting? Probably not. But it just gets all the synapses firing of like riding around on a giant beast. And then drinks and snacks. Yeah. Introduce the X cards. Function as a safety tool. Yep. Create your characters. One player must be the storyteller. They will create and play as the Kirin. Design your saddle as a group. Oh. Ask questions and let this period of idle dreaming transition into play. That's fascinating. That's a fascinating way to word that. And I imagine I'm really kind of hoping that there are mechanics where they're kind of like, hey, GM, here's how you do this. Here's how you get that going. I like this too. Headers, skills and traits, inline information, page numbers, choices. I like that. It's very much like, here's our formatting. Here's what you can see. Touchstones. Here we go. Visual artists. The arts of Boel Oyino. The stylish works of Hirohiko Araki. And the anthropomorphic characters of @Fiship on Twitter. Okay. Television. Avatar Last Airbender. Kippo and the Age of Wonder Beasts. Never seen or heard of that. She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. Cowboy Bebop. Okay. And JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Okay. Movies. Never-Ending Story. Of course. Oh, and Treasure Planet. Oh, now there's an idea. Yeah, that was kind of... I wouldn't say that was biopunk. I'd say that more like space punk? Kinda? Not necessarily steampunk. A little steampunk? Is space punk even a thing? It is now. In books Born by Jeff Vandermeer. Inclusivity. Between Clouds is a game that seeks to promote queer, positive, and inclusive themes. Throughout the books, players are referred to using they/them pronouns to be gender neutral. Illustrations of symbiotes are always drawn in a trans and inclusive light, to the best of my ability as an artist. Oh, cool. Symbiotes are framed as cultural outcasts who have been given a second chance through their found families, now fighting to dismantle power structures around them. Those themes will be close to home for many players. They can be cathartic for some and upsetting for others. Because of this, it's vitally important that everyone discusses their boundaries and level of comfort at the beginning of the game. This is good to know. And good to say, because a lot of games like D&D or Pathfinder or Fabula Ultima or a lot of fantasy games are like, oh, make sure, like, because you're going into dungeons and stuff, so like don't piss anybody off if there's spiders there, or you know, like you cut someone and they bleed or anything like that. It's important to know, like, hey, the themes about how your characters are going to be made might be really close to home. like from character creation, this could be a little too much. So that's good. And the X card, for those that don't know, the X card is like putting a playing card or an index card that just has like an X on it on the center of the table within reach of everybody. And it's a safety tool. So whenever you're not feeling well, or you're talking about something that you don't really want to or anything like that, you just reach in, touch the X card, and the scene moves along. It's sort of like a, you know, like skip cutscene kind of thing. Like, I don't want to see this, boop, and you move it along. When it's used well, I should say. Ultimately, Between Clouds is meant to be a celebration of our differences. It's a chance to be colorful, liberated, and inspired. It's about bringing low elites who place themselves above others. It's about bringing low elites who place themselves above others, sowing chaos among their enforcers, and supporting the downtrodden and oppressed. It's about making space for everyone. Nice. Tweak this game as you please and make it into your own. You have my express permission. Perhaps something is missing from the game that you find vitally important. I hope not. I hope this is a complete thing and you can just be like, just do whatever you want with it. Imperia! Okay, we're gonna kind of... That looks so nice. That art style is so nice. Nice and pastel. It's all soft, but definite features. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, we're gonna kind of go through this section a little bit. Kind of skim it. I want to kind of get to the meat and potatoes of like the mechanics and what you're doing, how to make stuff. But this is interesting. It's just let's see here. Models for infinite growth based on the reality of finite resources. Centuries ago, those who lived on the surface enjoyed unimaginable luxuries. Devices were made and used and discarded. Cooked meat was a staple with every meal. Electric power was inexhaustible. Golden Age did not arrive without a cost, however, and had produced a debt that could only be repaid by the suffering of future generations. Planet began to change. Ice melted, the oceans rose. Human and animals both lost valuable habitats. The world slipped into a stagnant, inescapable heat. Everything once pulled from the soil now begged to be returned, and all the riches that were produced would provide no refuge for the approaching death. This irreversible climate disaster, known to the people of Imperia as the Collapse, would be the catalyst for a new era, for the arrival of Kyros, and for humanity's life between the clouds. Common folk of Imperia know few details about what life was like on the surface below, and what little they do know is often recognized as myth rather than fact. Oh, I know nothing about this. Okay. In the cold void of space, precious, rare, statistically improbable life is the most fragile resource one could find. Humanity had been given a trove of it, unparalleled biodiversity, and when their actions worked to squander it, others took notice. A thing from the beyond, ooh, all caps, that means something here, came to Imperia, an ancient breed of extraterrestrial leviathan that prowled the stars, collecting and cataloging all of the genetic data that it could find, seeking it out wherever it appeared. This creature, dubbed Kyros, came to preserve the fleeting life that remained. When Kyros arrived, the world took notice, but with little fanfare or concern. Humans were preoccupied with their own survival, engaged in petty power struggles over diminishing resources. The entity remained, tremendous, suspended in the skies above. Many people disregard its alien origin, instead wrapping themselves in conspiracies that blame the apparition's presence on rival factions. Only when the world transformed around them did the humans heed Kyros. Creating the Kirin was the first of Kyros' 3 great miracles. The Outsider's main objective was to discover and collect all varieties of life, preserving what it could by adapting it for the harsh world the humans had created. Such an immense undertaking would require help. The Leviathan selected terrestrial mammals, cats, dogs, pigs, and more. Their senses were sharp, and the planet's violent apes admired them. It transfigured these common animals into Kirin, unique beasts imbued with part of Kyros' genetics, essence, and abilities. Soon, thousands of these biological surveyors were scouring every inch of the globe to collect and transform the life that they encountered. Second miracle, Super Bloom! Plants, being the foundation of most ecosystems, were saved by Kyros' second miracle, the Super Bloom. Using its own abilities and the Kirin at its disposal, Kyros enlarged many of the world's plants or found other methods to keep them airborne and away from the toxic world below. Created a new canopy, coniferous trees that pierced the clouds, endless fields of grass suspended in open air, barrel cacti rolling in the wind like buoys in the waves. Smaller plants could, through Kyros' many wonders, be made as light as the air itself and broad enough to catch even the slightest draft. Their roots were made obsolete, instead needing only sunlight and water alone to survive. Trees that were once deciduous dandies now stood as monstrous wooden obelisks whose tops could not be spotted from beneath the clouds. That's fucking cool. Love that shit. That reminds me of, if somebody knows the name of it, sound off in chat. There was an anime movie that I saw a long time ago. When I was just in college, and it starts off with like humans experimenting on like plants on the moon, like trying to experiment on like biolife and all that, and you just see this huge accident happen, and this massive dragon made of like leaves and wood and bark just descend on the planet. So it's literally just like flying through space and headed to Earth, and then the movie kicks open and like druids are a thing. The planet's in shambles, but there's like pockets of life. It's real. This is what that immediately reminded me of. Something like the Super Bloom. And third miracle, Oceanic Ascension. Kyros' third and final miracle was to lift the ocean itself. An unthinkable wealth of biodiversity lay in those murky depths. And without bringing them to safety, they would surely perish from toxicity and waste. Like pouring rain flowing in reverse, microbes and plankton were pulled into the sky. Then in small numbers, fish began to fly up and out of the oceans. So long and thanks for all the fish. Soon it was entire schools of silver minnows, then tuna and mackerel, then sharks and squids, and finally dolphins and mighty whales themselves. The people of the surface could only watch, mouths agape, as the ocean emptied itself of its denizens, raising every aquatic organism to the heavens, granting flight to each fish, mammal, and microbe in the sea, would seem an impossible task if not for the acts of transmutation. Slaying the... Oh my god. Yep. Oh my god, I love this lore. I know I said I was only going to take a little bit of time on it, but I fucking love this lore. Oh my god! As their world rapidly transformed around them, humans refused to sit idly by. They protested, bemoaned, and panicked that the end was near. It was the cataclysm in full form, and something needed to be done. Weeks passed, and humanity scattered. Ineffectual governments cobbled together a plan of attack. They would no longer tolerate the tampering of this foreign entity. While Kyros only had intentions of moving life upwards, towards safety, it appeared to the people of the world as theft, as dark magics that sought to repurpose or steal away precious life. Legend says that the humans used an immense exploding harpoon to strike down Kyros. Propelled like a rocket, this tool of war screeched towards the benevolent god, piercing through its heart. Kyros was stricken and fell. Still, the new world that it had created was self-sustaining. The Kirin would carry on its wish, and life above the surface would find a way without the progenitor's guidance. The curse of Kyros. The Leviathan had been struck down, but it was not finished. Racked with agony, its life ebbing, Kyros was overcome by rage at these dangerous primates, its desire to protect all life forgotten in that instance. All creatures being sacred, these foolish sapiens were the exception. Jesus Christ, that goes hard. Oh, what a sentence. Man. Laying on the surface, maimed and suffering, the extraterrestrial deity summoned all of its might to curse humans and transform the planet into a new world that did not welcome them. An iridescent gas crawled along across the land. The process was slow but unyielding. The world it created was occupied with life from 100 different planets, entirely foreign in nature. Remaining flora and fauna were assimilated into this new ecosystem, humans included, in a way that made them only echoes of whence they once were. This bizarre alien landscape became known as the Below. As the surface transformed into something unrecognizable, humans made their panicked attempts to flee. Safety could be found by traveling up, as much as the planet's life already had, or down into some unremarkable long-forgotten bunker. The technology for perpetual flight did not exist, but humans quickly pioneered a new way to make their airborne lives possible by poaching Kirin. Given their association with Kyros and the gravity-defying nature of their bodies, the creatures were quickly villainized by nations across the world. The first cradles and vessels powered by Kirin hearts were unwieldy, unreliable, and likely to drop from the sky at a moment's notice. Still, they were preferable to the surface. Wow. Metal as hell. I feel sad already. Wow. Like, I'm already sitting here being like, fuck. I'm awful. Those who could not afford to manufacture cradles or ships found other options. Wealthy elites had devised their plans to flee long ago, continuing their comfortable lives on lavish satellites suspended in the planet's orbit far above the clouds. The self-sustaining fortresses would insulate them from worrying the dangers below. Those who had been oppressed and given little were forced to climb on foot to the highest refuge available. The tops of mountains, skyscrapers, and the gargantuan flora that surrounded them were all fitting retreats. These havens were, and continue to be, exposed to danger from below, making them suboptimal homes. Despite their best efforts, most humans did not survive. Only a fraction of the world's population would be given a second chance in this strange new world. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. Okay. Kind of want to go a little faster through this, but oh my god. Okay. So let's read up the Cloud Sea here. That lore is fucking amazing, by the way. Love that shit. Super original, super cool. God, I love that. There's too many good games out there, guys. There's too many. There's too many good TTRPGs out there. So like, give them a try and just see what they're like. Cloud Sea. Imperia is perpetually wrapped in a heavy, low-hanging layer of clouds, known as the Cloud Sea. Imagine it as the ocean's surface, but made of clouds instead. The below rests underneath it, while boats and cradles fly above it. Other clouds fly above it too, but while these come and go, the Cloud Sea always remains. Okay. There's towers. Old world super scrapers referred to as towers. Those who live in towers, oh, they can still live there. Are fighting wars of attrition. Okay. Ooh, jeez. Alright, okay. And this amazing artwork again. Oh my gosh. Cradles. Flying cities are the safest of humanity's dwellings. Airborne metropolises were constructed by many of the world's governments when it came time to flee, with their existence and continued success relying on the ever-potent hearts of hunted Kirin. No expense was spared. Tickets for a new life aloft were sold for exorbitant prices, but soon hordes of desperate people clamored at the bays for a chance aboard. Those who live in cradles have few concerns, save for falling off the sky itself. Without a regular supply of poached Kirin, these luxury colonies would not float, prompting a tireless hunt for the creatures. While the cradle's edges are lined with walls and guardrails, children's pets and careless inebriates do occasionally fall overboard. Jesus. Severe weather and violent storms might tilt such a vessel, causing damage and tossing any untethered objects over the edge. In the worst cases, entire cities are capsized, turning upside down, dumping their contents and citizens into the abyss below. Cradles were designed for the wealthy, and existence aboard one is pleasant. People create films, art, and literature. New technologies are invented and old ones are restored. Hydroponic farms and industrial fishing provide food for the populace with meats. Even Kirin served as a delicacy. People travel the city on foot, by bicycle, or via rail car. Okay. Oh, that's cool. This stuff looks so cool. Natural dwellings. Aside from islands, towers, and cradles, humans found a variety of natural dwellings above the sky, made available by Kyros' tampering centuries ago. Okay. Forests and jungles, tropical reefs, glaciers. Okay. Super cool. Oh my god. Oh yes, and this artwork too, it's so good. I did a little guy. Hello, Nugget. What a cute. Kirin are larger-than-life creatures that defy gravity itself. In their short few millennia on the planet, these animals have changed the lives of all humans, infiltrating the zeitgeist at every level, appearing as villains and saviors, both wondrous and terrible. They can be found across all of Imperia in myriad shapes and sizes, bearing a resemblance to one of their terrestrial mammalian ancestors. Yes, Tato? Yes, baby? You okay?
Sticking your butt out of the litter box.
Despite relentless hunting, poaching, and antagonization, humans are now indebted to these creatures in ways they do not yet comprehend, and their fates are inextricably bound. Kieran's most notable feature, and most coveted, is its ability to fly. This phenomenon is painstakingly researched, but even with the use of Kieran anatomy in skybound vessels, the true processes remain largely a mystery. It's understood that the creature's blood is responsible for its flight, although the fluid gradually loses potency when isolated. Ideally, it must be pumped and oxidized by the Kieran's heart to remain potent, something that bioengineers and mechanics spend their lives emulating.
Yeah, sweet girl? Why are you in the corner like a Blair Witch Project? Look at your little box. It's okay, sweet girl. It's okay. Hi. Hi, baby. Sweet girl.
Genetic population. Kieran's genes are malleable, mutable in ways that allow them to catalog and edit the genetic information of every living thing that they encounter. Ooh. By using the data from hundreds or thousands of plants and animals, Kieran may reshape the biology of any organism that they meet to make it more resilient and well adapted for its environment. Other wild animals fully embrace this change, perhaps knowing on an instinctual level that the creature's presence benefits them. Operating on their forebears' dying command... oh, hold on. Let me shut all this off. Operating on their forebears' dying command, Kieran sustained Imperia's delicate ecosystems by transferring genes and mutations from one isolated biome to the next, using new adaptations to bolster flora and fauna against ever-changing conditions in a process akin to pollination. Research surrounding this habit is scarce, and what does exist is often banned or destroyed, as it would provide a compelling counter-argument for the wanton poaching of Kieran. Okay. Despite all their prowess, Kieran are unable to modify their own genes. The mutations and unique abilities granted to other living things remain inaccessible to these floating giants, perhaps as a safety measure installed by their own creator. Still, their physical nature does appear to change over time. Small parts of the creature's stored information will manifest across its body, appearing as physical growths like antennae, wings, scales, or extra limbs. Kieran seldom noticed these changes, instead accepting them as natural extensions of themselves. That's pretty cool. This boy. They're just a school of sharks. Kieran anatomy. Maintain a near mythical status. They eat, sleep, defecate, breathe, live, and die. Okay, so a brief assemblage of facts about them are as follows. They're peaceful. They won't fight unless they're provoked. Sadly, people often perceive them as being hostile when they are searching for food or shelter near human communities. Kieran lived for centuries, some die much younger due to poaching or unnatural causes. It's rumored that some of Kyros' original few still remain across Imperia. Kieran have long tails. Regardless of their mammalian ancestor, all Kieran have powerful, winding tails that act as rudders to balance, steer, and propel them. Kieran are intelligent creatures. They're as smart as humans, although the two kinds of intelligence are only roughly compared. Kieran are omnivores. Diet consists primarily of fish and other marine life. Even Kieran of herbivorous descent conform to this diet, likely to absorb the gravity-defying properties of fish. Kieran are solitary. They primarily live and explore on their own, not because it's safer or easier, but because it allows them to catalog and oversee the greatest possible amount of biodiversity. Okay. Kieran reproduce asexually. Concepts of sex and gender mean little to such creatures. Individuals reproduce on their own by using genes from the many organisms they have encountered, including genes from other Kieran that they've exchanged information with. Each generation is made stronger by the connections and endeavors of the last. And they lay eggs.
Nice.
And of course, they're prized rarities. Okay. This is cool. I love this world building so far. It's fucking amazing. World around them changes, often as biomes expand and contract. Unstable weather patterns make it difficult to locate food or raise young. Nevertheless, through all that, Kieran persevere. Such giants are resilient, intelligent, and able to adapt. When their environment doesn't suit them, Kieran are able to modify local flora and fauna to produce more food, cleaner air, and safer homes. The craftiest of these wyverns will curate local organisms to protect them from threats. That's actually really cool. Carnivorous plants, masses of paralyzing jellyfish, and sawtoothed birds are not uncommon near a Kieran's lair. Nice. aggressive, cautious, active, make no attempt to remain hidden, protective, okay, curious, and calm. Kirin are often the oldest of such beasts, or have been insulated from danger for many years. Slow to act but not feeble. And prefer to spend long days lounging about and watching the birds.
Oh, it's cute.
Okay, so you're Kirin. The storyteller assumes the role of the Kirin, the nucleus around which the family is formed. To give them a unique charm and to make the selection process easier, Kirin are randomly given options for their breed, build, personality, and genotype. Just as symbiotes are unable to choose the specific kind of flying companion that approaches them, players too must accept their fate as a family. Or as an alternative ruling, players may simply choose their Kirin aspect. So yeah, you can just choose or roll for it. I love the idea of rolling for, yeah, like roll 2, then pick 1, roll twice, roll 3 times, pick 2. I love that idea. Like, it's random, but you can curate a little bit. You got deer, cow, horse, bear, cat, dog, rabbit, pig, goat, otter, rat, or elephant. In kind of breed, right? Build can be little guy. Blind or deaf. Focomelic. I don't know what that word means. Look it up. This condition causes the upper or lower limbs of a child to be underdeveloped or missing. Oh, okay. I see. A serpentine, a twin, or giant. Ooh. Personality, aggressive, protective character. Oh, okay, what we just talked about up here. So yeah, like some of their personalities, like which ones are they? In genotype, Nightshade, Tidecaller, Rootcaller, Petalwing, Storm Eater, or Star Soul. That's probably different stuff. So yeah, creating your Kirin, roll 2d6, yeah, all that stuff. Mark 3 trait. Oh, Mark 3 traits. Use your breed as a reference or choose your own. Decide how your Kirin looks. Name your Kirin, including nicknames. That's cool. So I'm really curious about the genotype and traits. Let's kind of go. That looks so fucking cool. God, the artwork is so great. This really reminds me too of, oh, what is it called? What is it called? It's something. It's something animated. Scavenger's Reign. Oh my gosh. If you haven't seen Scavenger's Reign, this artwork gives me major vibes from that show. Everything is really bright and colorful, but it's still fairly alien looking. You know, like, oh, you could put like a face to that or something like that, but it's still really alien looking. This is awesome looking. Really cool looking beastie. Okay, so breeds. Cervine resembles a deer. Kirin boasts horns and antlers. Okay, so this is just kind of like, this is generally like what they would look like. Keywords you could associate with them, right? Like Ursine, black bear, panda, wolverine, red panda, right? That kind of thing. Yeah, proboscene, elephant, tapir. Oh, I like that. Ross mouse, chipmunk, or even like a chinchilla, capybara. Yeah. And generally like what it has. Okay. Oh, and then builds. So like a little guy, -1 upgrade, -1 base equipment point, but the bonuses fits into narrow spaces, begin with a simple boat. Okay. Families with little can travel by boat, powered by fish oil, and begin their game with a simple one. Okay. Blind or deaf bonus, each symbiote begins the game with bestial eyes or bestial ears. In addition to their own mutations, the Kirin may see or hear through its symbiotes. Oh, wow, that's cool. Focal Melic. Symbiotes may hover and fly about within a short radius of the Kirin. Okay. Lost all sense of their limbs, but it's like, no big deal. That's all good. Twins. Select 2 different core mutations, one for each Kirin, and allow each player to choose between the 2. Okay. That's neat. Serpentine, +1 upgrade, +1 base equipment point. And then Giant. Cannot land or fit in narrow spaces. 2 upgrades, 2 base equipment points. Okay, yeah. And there you go. Just very little guy. It's a giant guy. Oh, and a human for reference. Oh, man. Bonkers. Personalities. And these, okay. That's cool. Complex personality. Each Kieran is equipped with 2 personalities to represent their dynamic nature. These personalities should be used as a guide. So, like, aggressive. Hiss, howl, growl, bark, snarl, stomp, swipe with your tail and raise your shoulders. Gain a wild point. We'll have to figure out what that is. And mark a pressure plant. We'll have to figure out what that is. When you growl at strangers or guards, howl and reveal your location, or tear something to shreds. So yeah, like when the game master is acting like this. Here we go, role-playing the Kieran. Since Kieran can't speak, they must communicate through body language and vocal cues. When role-playing the Kieran, describe what you are doing and reinforce it with animated gestures. Hiss, howl, grunt, and cower. Use your hands to represent pointy ears or sway an arm to portray your swishing tail. Just don't lick your fellow players without their consent, at least. No. I'm never reach across the table and lick them and be like, we're just role-playing. Don't do that. Active, cautious. Okay, so these don't provide gameplay benefit. Well, they do. These are role-playing guides for the game master. Genotypes. Biomes. Each genotype has 3 preferred biomes. These should be used to determine what kind of Kieran are present in the current biome as players explore Imperia and rescue their airborne allies. Whenever the family enters one of its Kieran's preferred biomes, gain a wild point. Oh, and page 118 is where those are at. Okay, core mutation. Each genotype is equipped with several recommendations for a core mutation. The singular feature is present on both the Kieran and each of its symbiotes, although its appearance can vary between characters. A Kieran may display a vast array of mutations as part of its appearance, but the core is its most notable feature. Wonders. Kieran are capable of producing supernatural wonders through the use of their unique biology. They can manifest in a number of ways, but should be loosely based on the Kieran. A list of generic wonders for all Kieran can be found below, while examples of specific wonders can be found listed within each genotype. To produce them, the Kieran must gain and spend wild points. Okay, which is how, like, through roleplay, we'll get them. And whenever you visit that, so, okay. Each wild point spent provides a single success, or counts for a single marked leaf on a progress plant. Okay, so that's a clock, from what it sounds like. Or causes one of the effects listed below. Multiple wild points may be spent at once on a single action to amplify its effects. Okay. So a wild... If this is using a D6 die pool system, each wild point provides a single success. So this is probably a game where you're looking for multiple successes over either a D6 die pool or die pool in general. It only mentioned D6s, so I think that's what we're using. Okay. Wow, checks get real hard. Generic wonders. Call a nearby plant or animal to your aid. Grant any medium-sized object or organism gravity-defying properties for the next hour. Transform a plant, animal, or person into another living thing. Ooh. Provide a family member with a temporary mutation or power until the end of the session. That's cool. Nightshade. An elusive nocturnal Kieran that moves like shadow and makes a little noise. Core mutations: bat-like wings, fangs, bat-like ears, shadowy scales or fur. And shroud the vicinity or blanket and supernatural darkness. Oh, okay, so these are just kind of like general things that you can kind of do, and it's probably up to the game master's discretion to detail how powerful they might be in any one instance to either make stuff more interesting or help the players out in a really tough situation that they probably put themselves in. Tidekeeper. This is fascinating because all the water is above the clouds too. Weird. Wild. Fish like tail, tendrils, antennae, scales on an aquatic body. Conjure sun storm, flood, freeze, or rust objects. Call upon fish, sharks, and leviathans. Root caller. This little guy. What cute. Smells of dewdrops, pine, and honey. Oh. Insectoid antenna, scales or fur. Pattern scales or fur. Wooded horns, extra limbs. Plant-like floral body, featuring vines, moss, and fungi. Summon powerful roots, grow moss, call snakes, spiders, other megafauna. Petal wing. Oh, this is straight up fey. Like leaves on the wind. Magnificent wings of any kind. Flowering floral body, bestial eyes that see for miles. Pointed beak, curved talons. Okay. Cast powerful winds, call in the droves of insects. fill the air with grass and flowers and all that. That's awesome. Storm Eater. Oh my god, that's so cool. Just munch on lightning. Just nom, nom, nom. It smells of ozone, petrichor, and burning metal. Energized horns, wings, bestial eyes, a static charge. Oh my gosh. Breathes fire or lightning. Fry electrical components in the area. Conjure a storm of lightning or fire. Oh my god, you could just ride around on a dragon if you wanted to. Flat out dragon. Star Soul. Ooh! This one looks great. Oh, I like this one the best. Otherworldly Kieran capable of enduring harsh locations and scarce light. Body kind of reflects the natural night sky itself. Twinkling bestial eyes, bioluminescence, scales or fur. Imbue people, creatures, or things with a dazzling radiant light. Slice, burn, and pierce with a beam of light. Call upon microorganisms to dissolve, rust, or fortify. Oh my god. Shit is cool. I love this kind of thing. I love it. Like, let's give the GM a character, and they aren't a player necessarily, but they've got rules and they can work within the bounds of that while they're also like detailing a place. Traits are descriptive tags given to Kieran to summarize their identity and unique strength. Okay. So powers or feats. For example, players can call for an agile Kieran's aid when falling from a ledge, or perceptive Kieran's aid when the trails run cold. If the Kieran has no applicable traits such as moving rubble without being strong, it cannot lend aid. It cannot aid the symbiotes on that particular role. Lastly, the traits Fisher and Scavenger have additional effects and are able to provide boons at any time for the cost of a single unity point. Whether or not a Kieran's traits allow it to aid the symbiotes on a given role is ultimately up to the storyteller. Example situations and relevant skills are listed below, but these are only recommendations. Okay. Allow players to make their arguments for the trait's relevance to the failed role. Okay, yeah, like, so it's less of the game master saying, I'm going to control every aspect of this beast. And instead, like, they'll kind of like bump their nose in and all that, but ultimately players get saved, like kind of what they're doing or what they might look like. This also gives me very big Last Guardian vibes, which I'm a little surprised isn't in the acknowledgements for this, but also not really, because that was a indie darling, so that just flew literally under the radar. There's agile, there's cute, elusive, ferocious, fisher, perceptive, scavenger. Okay. And then conditions. Okay. Just for the Kieran. Sullen. Kieran may not gain unity points by bonding. Tired. They may not wear their saddle and must leave it behind. Stubborn. Grounded, or no longer able to fly. They're either too exhausted, scared, or injured. Detached. Kieran no longer connected to their symbiotes, preventing the family from using their powers. Jesus! That's bad. Death and rebirth. When all 5 of a Kieran's conditions have been marked, it is the creature's time to go. Take a moment, pause the action. Don't let the Kieran's demise be a violent thing. Finish what is happening in the fiction and transition into a dramatic scene. Give each player the chance to say goodbye to the creature and it to them. Oh god, I'm over. It's getting me just reading that. I like pets and like I'm a big pet guy. I love cats and dogs and like cute little critters and all that. Like I wouldn't be able to do that. I'd be like, y'all are gonna need a minute. I'm gonna take a walk. I wouldn't be able to do it. The family is broken and it must start anew. This might be with a new Kieran, a new family, or with a different tabletop game altogether. When a Kieran dies, new life blossoms from it in a marvelous and sweeping way. Describe what the sight of its death is like. Do fish swim about joyously? Is there a ring of flowers? This change extends to the region at large, and the Kieran's lasting wish reforms the ecosystems into something new. Pick a new biome for the current region. That's awesome. That's really cool. I like that. Kieran are fueled both in their flight and in body by eating marine life. Squids, mackerels, tuna, and the like are delicacies to such creatures. Fish are acquired by taking the Go Fish travel task, through bartering or as a reward from others. Symbiotes might feed fish to the Kieran during their downtime to recover its marked conditions, 1 per fish. Fish expire during dinner time at the end of the session, and the family eats up all the remaining pieces together. Okay, so necessary for rests, probably for recovery. Definitely for the Kieran, for sure. And that's just how it interacts with fish that are found. When the family's growth plant is filled, which is probably like, I'm thinking Candela Obscura had like this wheel that you'd fill in for every yes you answered to a end of session questionnaire. And when it filled up, everybody, like, or the organization levels up at that point. So that's probably what this is. It's filled. The Kieran grows alongside its symbiotes. Mark an additional trait, genotype, or personality. The saddle. Symbiotes travel with the Kieran by riding in a lightweight wearable harness referred to as a saddle. The structure serves as a home, a base of operations, and a space for the family to call their own among the 9 skies. It contains all of the things they have accumulated along their journey, from postcards to polearms. More importantly, it is the primary recurring scene of all gameplay, In Between Clouds. To design their saddle, the family should select options from the list below and draw a map of their space as they do, using the saddle worksheets or a blank pad. Try to choose upgrades and flaws that seem the most compelling rather than those that seem the most advantageous. Then each family member should each ask one prompting question to the player on their left. These questions should spark idle dreaming about what life in a saddle is like and eventually transition into roleplay as the family begins their journey among the clouds. Okay, there we go. So yeah, like this I think is probably the last thing that you do, is you make the Kieran, players make themselves, choose powers and all that, and then the saddle, because it's kind of you meet in the tavern of this game. Instead of a tavern, it's you meet in the saddle. You're meeting in the saddle of this massive creature that you're riding in. It could be anything, like if it's a giant creature, I'm imagining kind of like a ship where you've got like a galley and a bow and probably even like a mast of some kind. If it's a little smaller or more normal size for these giant creatures, it's probably very much like Avatar, where it's just like a big saddle and it's just space for you to sit. What is a seatbelt? And you just carry on. Choose 3 upgrades: armory, balcony, bandana, barding, cabin, cannon, canvas top, collar, costume chest, crow's nest, there you go, diving bell. Cool. Oh, we just learned about that. Well, also probably for water too in the sky. Wild. Fishing nets, full kitchen, garden, gnarled tree, medical bay, oxygen tank, skyboard or sky broom, spotlight, sweater, television, tow cable, upper deck, underbelly, hammock, workbench. And choose 2 flaws: creaky boards, bug infestation, messy, foul odor, cramped, slippery, moldy, loose fitting, splinters, haunted aura, oh my god, barnacles, no railings, stained, noisy, dark history, oh, the guy, oh poor guy, rusted, poor visibility, hideous color, or highly flammable. Consider these questions as a group. Where do we eat? Where do we store our things? Where do we sleep? Ask one to the left. Oh, and this is where you go. These are like places to start from. Why aren't you allowed in the kitchen anymore? Where's your favorite spot to be? Why? Where do we cuddle? What did you break last week? Why do you sleep away from the rest of us? Okay, those are good questions too. Upgrades. Okay, and they each actually have mechanics to them. I like that. Like bandana, darling Kieran accessory grants the cute trait. Armory uses body armor, yeah. Balcony, good vantage point for +1 to navigate. Cabin, +1 to endure, yeah. Costume chest, yep. Diving bell, explore the below. Oh, okay, below without mast, but only from within the safety of the diving bell itself. Gnarled tree, same thing, +1 to navigate. So do you want a balcony or a gnarled tree? A garden, gain 2 unity points instead when you cook lunch. Same thing with a full kitchen. Powered by fish oil, a skyboard or broom. A sweater, Cozen Kieran accessory grants the cute trait. I like that. And then flaws. There are signs of the structure's age and wear. Flaws should be used to present danger, like with highly flammable, or to dole out small dice penalties, like a -1 penalty to move. Okay, so those are less. I like that. Flaws are less talked about. There's less mechanics there because they're there to provide some kind of nasty benefit or complication, and so those are malleable. generally speaking, these will provide some kind of actual factual benefit to the player's play. I like that. God, I like everything about this. This is so nice. Symbiotes! Here we go! The people!
Cat ears.
Oh, okay, I see. Like, they all have, like, high cat ears. Okay.
Probably a big old cat.
Symbiotes are ordinary humans who have formed an unbreakable bond with Imperia's most extraordinary beast, the Kirin. At one point or another, we have all felt the urge to leave our old lives behind. We imagine a different scenario, one where we could forget our problems and begin anew as somebody else. Symbiotes are the rare few who are granted this second chance by the most unusual of allies, although each of them will find their own old worries replaced by new challenges. No self-respecting citizen in the clouds would willingly join with a Kirin and its merry band of misfits, unless the alternatives were much more dire. Life on a Kirin can promise power, fame, treasure, but one sacrifices any status, comfort, or stability. Leaving family and friends behind is not a decision to be taken lightly. A Kirin will not accept additional passengers in the long term, and space for precious belongings is slim. As such, there is no symbiote who has not had to endure a difficult path and sacrifice much to be where they are now. Symbiotes in society. Each harbor, all of the different places harbor their own attitudes towards symbiotes and the Kirin they ride on. In general, symbiotes are viewed as vagabonds and harbingers of trouble. Although they possess supernatural abilities and may provide aid in times of need, a symbiote's business often ends in only chaos. These colorful mutants answer to no government or nation, nor do they claim belonging to a settlement anymore. This lack of allegiance makes most people uneasy. Common folk will often avoid symbiotes unless their need is great, while rulers and barons will seek to leverage them for their own personal gain. Despite society's stigmas against them, symbiotes are still people. Most communities will begrudgingly accept their arrival, although this is often paired with a fee, a task, or other tacit stipulations. When away from their Kirin, symbiotes can be difficult to distinguish from regular folks. Most mutations they might possess are easily hidden with hats, glasses, and cloaks. If their identities are discovered when they stroll about, people nearby may feel surprised or even threatened. Needing to convince regular citizens of their value and humanity is the enduring struggle of all who ride Kirin.
Crazy. Little things.
The sacred bond. Symbiotes and their Kirin share a connection unlike any other. This bonding process begins when a Kirin encounters a human that piques their interest. The beast's acute sense of smell is key in appraising a candidate's merit and potential. Given how selective they are, Kirin could encounter and judge thousands of people during his travel before meeting the right match. The Kirin selection is supposedly determined by a complex series of biochemical interactions, but ultimately is something more akin to a fate that drives the creature's final decision. A small chance that the human will refuse the Kirin's offer to join with it, but given the accuracy of its senses, the animal can typically locate a willing candidate with ease. Should be noted that no symbiote has ever selected their own Kirin. Although some may wish for it, the bond will not be formed, and the beast's remarkable abilities will not be shared unless it has found and selected the family member of its own volition. Once a new symbiote has been found, a biological link is established via touch. This might happen after cautious approach, or as the Kirin comes crashing into the symbiote, or in any number of scenarios. After first contact, a hot, sharp, burning sensation runs through the symbiote's body as genetic information is rapidly exchanged. In those few seconds, the very makeup of their body is rewritten. The misfit's new life begins from that moment forward. But the changes are not reflected immediately. The newly formed mutant leaves this process dazed and exhausted, and their mutations won't be visible nor their power usable for several days afterwards. Gradually, with the help of their Kirin and the newfound family, they adjust to life as a symbiote. Found family. Okay, yeah, cohesive unit, sharing in pain, feeling joys. Even in the absence of a biological link, the members of any family would be just as close. Okay. Unbridled style. Due to their fierce independence, symbiotes are known to be the most stylish, bizarre, and vibrant characters. In their former lives, most of them were likely tormented by others for their unusual preferences or eccentricities, but by living freely atop a Kirin, any self-respecting symbiote will have the freedom to be adorned in ways they best epitomize their character and personality. Tattoos, piercings, colorful hair, and dazzling clothes are just a few of the accents such mutants might display. This is really kind of neat. I like this. And the reason I like this is not for the obvious reason of self-expression through roleplay, but most players, when they play like a high fantasy, which is the most common, will typically pull like the stuff they find is the most cool and badass from all the stuff that they like about the fiction. You know, like cool looking cloaks, shoulder garments, like awesome sheaths for their sword, things like that, whatever the case might be. Leather weapons, leathers, any of that stuff. Like whatever they could find it. If they had an infinite budget at Ren Fair, like their characters decked out in that stuff, because they just go like, this is cool and neat, and I personally like this stuff. But in many cases too, like with spells or powers or abilities, some players will kind of describe like what it looks like. Again, it's like, this is the cool thing, I like this thing, it's very cool. This game does such a remarkable job at saying like, you and this Kieran are paired. You are nearly one and the same biologically. Like you've just shared this genetic material to a point where you are yourself plus end of sentence. So the idea of just being like, well, screw it, I'm gonna just like stylize myself in whatever way that I want to, that expresses myself in a way that I want to, is really neat. Because, especially with the setting, it allows players to express aspects of either themselves as players or as their characters that they want to role play and get in the shoes of, through all sorts of different kinds of clothing that they might think is cool, or things that might be considered appropriation or something like that. They get to play here, because the idea of expression is just kind of open. Like your character is not really like, you can't tell if your character in this game is going to be like a rogue or a ranger based on, oh, they wear a lot of leathers and stuff for protection, like, because that might not mean anything in this game world. So it's like, no, they wear that stuff because, like, yeah, they like it. If they like it, it's cool and it expresses who they are, and no one else is wearing this stuff. So yeah, they look weird to anybody else, but to them they look fly as hell. I like that. It's a different take on it. It's a different take on the same idea, and it's given time to breathe in this book, which I like. Playing as a symbiote. Symbiotes are morally just. They're imperfect, okay. That I like. They are capable of making bad choices with good hearts. Valid feelings of anger, jealousy, and grief can guide their decisions and cloud their judgment. I like that. I like that because there are, and this game does it as well when describing the saddle, where it says, what are some flaws of the saddle? There's too many games that say, it's like, what are your flaws as a character? What are things about you that are just objectively bad? You know, whether you're cheap, or you drown yourself in alcohol, or you're loose with your money, or whatever the case, or you're easily gullible, or whatever the case. Like, this is a flaw. It's bad, like objectively bad. Everybody can look at this thing about your character and say, yep, bad thing. I like the representation here that, like, you can be a good person, you can be morally just, and you can still make mistakes. It can still happen. It doesn't mean you are flawed. It doesn't mean, ooh, yeah, that bad. But it means, like, you can make mistakes based on who you are, based on, like, choices you're making, situations you put yourself in. It allows for more freeing role play, because a player is not forced to start thinking about, okay, I made my character this cool badass, now what are they bad at? It is the idea that you're going to think about your character as a human being first. So they are not going to be perfect. They're going to be a little weird, they're going to be a little strange, and they're going to be imperfect. Those aren't necessarily flaws. It's a way to make the character design and story that you're telling richer. That's a long way to say I like that wording. Symbiotes are defenders of nature. They do not tolerate injustice against the natural world and will oppose it whenever they can. Symbiotes protect those in need. Symbiotes are always evolving, both mentally and physically. Symbiotes are different from one day to the next. They exist in a state of becoming and cannot be expected to remain unchanged by their adventures across Imperia. I love that sentence. They exist in a state of becoming. Oh, I'm gonna steal that for something I know I am. That's a great line. It's a great fucking line. Love that. Okay. Your symbiote. Okay, here we go. Consider the following during character creation. Create a character that's enjoyable for you to play. You'll be embodying this person for extended periods of time. It's important that you can roleplay as them comfortably. If you're feeling adventurous, consider playing someone unlike your real self. This will allow you to step outside of your comfort zone and can make for a memorable experience. Absolutely. I don't think players should always do this, but I do think they should always keep it in mind. Because it can be just a fun romp. Especially for like one-shots and stuff, where there's very little attachment. It can be very good to not play it like as a joke, play it straight. But just be like, I'm going to do something radically different. Archetypes are useful. And no character is perfect. Don't stress over the details during the early stages of creation. Feel free to add details and complexity as time goes on. Yes. Everyone the storyteller included is making it up as they go. Yes, absolutely. Game masters allow your players to change their characters if they want to, for goodness sake. Yeah, it's just something that needs to happen. Yes! I just said it! Did I done is write this book? No, I did not. I'm nowhere near talented enough. Changing your mind. You might feel the need to change your character's concept or even start over as you discuss ideas with your fellow players. That's okay. Erase what you've circled and go again. If your character evolves during gameplay or between sessions, that's okay too. Share the changes with your group, then they might have changes of their own too. So choose a role. Choose one option from each category within your role. Gender? Oh. Okay. Is that mechanized too? That's fascinating. Trinket, look past, and dream. Oh, okay. Or make up your own. Record your family's core mutation derived from your Kirin. Then select a second mutation of your choosing from the list below, or from the list. Select a recommended power from within your role, or any power from a list. Assign the values 2, 3, and 4 between your 3 remaining attributes: might, poise, style, or focus. Okay, so I guess a role is going to have one of those attributes at a set number, maybe like 5, and then 2, 3, and 4 in the other ones. Mark 1 level and 3 available skills. Choose a name. If you can't think of one, ask your peers or simply use your symbiote's gender as your name. Like male? Female? What? Huh. Okay. Alright. Questions for later. Players should discuss and collaborate as they create their characters. Absolutely. That stuff is awesome and amazing. Roles! This archetype loosely defines who the character is in the context of the game world. It should serve as a guide for the character's personality, appearance, lifestyle, strengths, and weaknesses. Oh god, excuse me. The roles provided are meant to serve only as outlines, and players should feel empowered to get creative and explore their imagination. Oh, okay. Oh. They'll need to fill out several other categories on their character sheet based on the chosen role. Gender, trinket, look, past, dream, and power. Okay, gender. Here we go. Here we go. In between clouds, gender has been expanded, exploded to... expanded, exploded to reject and surpass the common binary masculine and feminine. Your character can certainly be a woman, but that's not what's important here. Instead, each role's gender is meant to capture the essence of the character, its gender as a metaphor. Oh. The apothecary isn't like a moth, they are a moth. They possess within them a softness, a beating, quiet calm. They are fluttering in the dark, searching for a light to guide them. Oh. I love that. I also like the expression, too. It's an interesting thought. I am not, I mean, again, like I said at the top of this stream, I am a cisgendered, straight white male. I have never really had to think about gender in the way that other people have had to do so. Other people that are beset upon by society's inequities. I've never had to think about gender like this, so I find this fascinating for a lot of people that might view my content that might go like, yeah, welcome. I just find that fascinating. I think that's really cool. Gender as the soul. Gender is in its truest form an outward expression of the inner soul. If choosing your character's gender in this way feels too abstract, players are welcome to substitute the term with something more familiar to them, like spirit, flavor, or essence instead. Okay. Players may struggle to choose a name for their character. When they do, suggest using their gender as their name for an easy solution. Okay. I very much like that expression. I like the expression of calling it gender instead of spirit or flavor or essence. It's a way to excuse me. Oy, excuse me. Oh my god. It's a way to, like they say, expand, explode, reject, and surpass the common binary of, you know, male or female. So yeah, it's like it's interesting. So when, like, in this universe, or even just anywhere, when someone says like my gender is this, it's not like that's what they put on their tax forms. It's like they are describing to you what they are like. In that way, then, gender is something that would also separate symbiotes from NPCs, because NPCs might not know their gender, but the symbiotes do. Part and parcel because they've been assaulted with all this biological information that has changed them as a person, but also because they're, you know, connected with this being in a way that allows them to symbiotically express themselves and express their will onto the planet. So yeah, like, so they're aware, like the player characters, these symbiotes are aware of their gender, but other NPCs might not be. That's fascinating. Love that take. This is an awesome take. Trinket. Each symbiote carries with them a trinket from their past. Object has been with the character since the early days, and embodies who they are and what they do. Trinkets provide a +1 bonus to a roll whenever they're used. Like, a bruiser will receive an extra die when using their weapon to duel. Wayfarer would receive this bonus from the spyglass. Or a jester might roll to charm somebody with the aid of their instrument. Okay. Look. Symbiotes appear in all shapes, colors, and sizes, but each has a standout look that correlates with their role. Typically, their look is a noteworthy accessory or piece of clothing, but it can appear as anything from prominent scars to theater makeup. Players may select multiple looks. Beyond this notable feature, characters can be styled in any way imaginable. Okay, yeah, very much kind of come as you are, do what you like. Past. Before they rode atop a Kirin, each symbiote led an entirely different life. Each player should select a past from their role, but only to serve as the starting point for a deeper narrative. Take ideas from books, movies, television, and let your imagination run wild to create a rich backstory that illustrates how your symbiote became the person they are now. Yes, no backstory, just who were you? Great, let's move it along. Dream. Each character begins the game with a lifelong dream based on their personal history and interests. Oh, very One Piece. Very, very One Piece. I like that. Like, it's not like, oh, I got a goal to do. Like, let's go find dungeon stuff. Like, no, it is my dream to do this thing. Aim big. I like that. Dreams act as motivation for each symbiote to get out and explore the world of Imperia. They equip players with purpose and direction during roleplay, as well as a sense of closure for that character if achieved. That's super cool. I like that. Mutations. Symbiotes possess non-human features, known as mutations. They begin the game with 2. One is the core mutation, belongs to the entire family, and is derived from the Kirin's genotype. Powers. Symbiotes derive supernatural abilities, known as powers, from their Kirin. They begin with a single power, chosen from their role's 9 suggested options, or from a complete list. Are we getting close to that complete list? Not even a little! Players are encouraged to create their own interpretations of powers. Recommendations can be found on page 91. Attributes. Yes, these attributes. The values range between 2 and 5 and indicate the number of dice a player rolls. Okay, so dice pools. Value 3 is considered average. Ooh, that's small. That's teeny tiny. So +1s are probably +1 extra die. Might, poise, style, focus. We can kind of guess what they are. Yes, each role has a key attribute, starts at 5. Beyond this, players must assign the values of 2, 3, and 4 to the remaining ones. Yep. Okay, sounds good. Skills. Each attribute has 3 skills connected to it. Oh, that's nice and easy. Okay. Each role has 6 key skills. Oh, okay. Okay. And they vary in between levels of 0 and 3, corresponding to the amount of dice added to a roll. Okay, so this is skill-based, a lot like D&D or Pathfinder or even Dragon's Bane, which is also Free League. No, that's not D6s, that's D20s. But same thing there. You're asking for skill checks and not like make a focus check or a might check. It's something that is tied to might. Yeah, so like make an endure check, make an aim check, make a navigate check, things like that. Okay. Super cool. So Might has Force, Duel, Endure. Poise has Move, Sneak, Aim, Style, Command, Charm, Haggle. And Navigate, Inspect, Modify. I like that. Unity points represent the strength of a family's bond. They're shared between the family and gained when characters rely on each other's abilities and bond with their Kirin. That's fascinating. They're used to call for the animal's help, console each other, and to unleash biological powers. Okay. Support. Each symbiote has something that they can offer to the others. Oh. Each role has 2 or 3... What typo? Has 2 or 3 suggestions for ways it can provide support. When other characters come to them for the support, the family grows closer and gains a unity point. Nice. And write it on a note card so that players can see what it is you have to offer. Bonds. Bond is their carrier, but they bond to each other. Okay. For example, a fisher might enjoy tossing their scraps to the Kirin as they work, or a mechanic could have hours of fun by crafting a laser pointer for their flying companion. Okay. When the symbiote bonds with their Kirin, the family gains a unity point. Okay. So do the cute things, do the things everybody wants to do with this game anyway, and gain points to do cool shit. I love that. I love that reward system. Like, yeah, this is what you want to do with this game? Perfect. Mechanize it, and you get to do cool shit afterwards. Equipment points. Item benefits you get a +1 bonus to a roll, which is probably an extra die, like +1 to a die. And advancement. Here we go. When players spend unity points, they're added to the Kirin's growth plant. When this plant is filled, each player receives an advancement. Advancements gained during play can be chosen immediately and might even be used to aid against obstacles at hand. So gain a skill level, gain a new mutation, or gain a new power. Okay. Real straightforward. I like that. Building your own role. Okay. Key attribute, 6 key skills. Unique skill, 3 prompting questions to explore while you play. List 2 or 3 ways you can support your family. 3 to 5 ways you can bond with the Kirin. Okay, so like, if none of these sound good, then whatever you like, here's how you do it. Apothecary. Okay. Play to find out. Do people respect your work? What ailment has no remedy? Do you look after yourself like you do for others? So this would be a focus roll. Key skills. And key skills, that was talked about up here in the skills section. Boop, 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 boop. Should distribute 3 levels among their key skills and unique skill, having no more than 1 level in any single skill. Okay, so you'll choose 3 of them. And those are all set at 1. Because you're getting a +1 bonus to those. Okay. Because then you're also... Are you? Am I reading that right? We're going to... Because we get the dream, the past, and all that. The mutations, powers. We get attributes. Then skills come in. They add that. Okay, so should distribute 3. Okay, so it all starts off at +1. That's rough. Die pools in this game are really small. But you probably want to use the Kirin's wild points to gain successes, because you're probably going to need that. Okay. Choose a gender. Oh, and here's like some suggestions. Acorn, moss, toadstool, spellbook, basil. Oh, I love that. Willow, pepper, forest, germ, kiwi, or moth. And then some trinkets, a bottomless satchel. I love that stuff. And just a pipe with stuff. I like it. Choose a look. Choose a past. Choose a dream. I will heal my own condition. I will find the key to immortality. I love this shit. I will create a cure for bright lung. What is this? We don't know. It hasn't been talked about yet. But it is something that you catch and you just kind of go, what? What is this? I'm kind of hoping they do the Wander Home and they don't talk about it. Like, I kind of hope Bright Lung is never mentioned again. And it's just kind of a, well, what do you want it to be? Choose a power. Animal tongue, hive mind, decay, pollinate. Choose a mutation. Record your family's core and visit 80 ports to select a personal one. Unique skill, forage. Gather ingredients from surrounding areas. And that is a skill already, right? No. Okay, so that is a So unique skills are completely unique. Entirely unique. Roll focus. Select one option from the link below. Oh, that's the forage. Okay. Okay, so you can make a concoction and it does a thing. It does some kind of narrative thing. Support. Gain a unity point when a family member is in need of your potions, poultices, and remedies, or seeks your knowledge concerning the natural world. Gain a unity point when you bond with your Kieran, foraging for mushrooms, taste testing ingredients, making treats for them to try. Oh, I like that. Making their coat nice and shiny. Fucking hey, I love this. Oh, I love this stuff. But again, like, I'm such a softie when it comes to, like, cute critters and all that. I love that shit. Alright, the brawler. Yeah, the fighter. Key skills, command, move, duel. Choose a gender, brick. Love that. Love that as a gender. I'm brick. My name is Matthew. I'm brick. Sawtooth, knuckle, grizzly, scar, wrath, boot, leather, mustang, and cinder. Oh, God. All great names for cigars. Choose a trinket. Okay, like fire axe, boxing gloves. Choose a look. A past. I was raised by cutthroat pirates. I enforced unjust laws on those weaker than myself. That's so nice. Because that's like a reason to change and all that. Like, that's, again, like a backstory that is informing where you're going to go by also telling people where you've been. Choose a dream. I will learn to control my rage. I'll look at the finest bladesmith in all of Imperia. Choose a power. Regeneration, bladed arms. Oh, nice. Controlled burn. I gotta look at all the powers and like what they are. It's probably as wild as something like the Cypher system. Electric shock, quill thrower. Choose a mutation. Protect. Defend yourself and someone else from harm's way. You roll might to step in and defend somebody, to protect them from harm. Gain a unity points when a family member comes to you for protection or needs to lift something heavy or reach something high. I love that. You can just be like, yeah, I'm kind of a fighter and I'm really tall. Gains a unity point when you bond with your Kieran by playing fetch with your trinket, playing rough together despite your size difference, clipping and filing their claws and teeth. Captain. Ooh, third eye up there. It's wild. Love the drip though. Oh, with the dragon tail. Love that shit. Are you fit to be a leader? Okay, so kind of like the bard, a little bit, but not quite. But yeah, key attribute is style. Choose a gender. Fucking A. We're starting off with fate. Ransom. Crusty. Whiskey. Starlight. I love that shit. Oh my god. Zenith. Yeah. Choose a look. Reading monocle. Yeah. Choose a pant. Magnificent beard. The neighborhood runt. I was told the open skies were too dangerous and had to see for myself. I served as a captain for one of Empower's power-hungry factions. Choose a dream. I will get a nice big boat. I just want a good boat. Choose a power. Jetstream, maker of pearl, seafoam, sub-zero, flashbulb. Parlay. Negotiate your way out of sticky situations by using your vast network of allies and information. That is cool. Ooh, Parlay. The skill assumes that as a captain, you're well connected. It allows you to invent fiction on the spot from the information and relationships your characters would have. Tell us about it. That's cool. I like that a lot. Support. Gain a unity point when a family member comes to you for guidance, leadership, or counsel, or is in trouble, or has made a mess and needs you to fix it. Uphill. Okay, get a unity point. Bonds. Bond with your Kieran by teaching them new tricks, flying as fast as we can, staring at the clouds together, or introducing them to new people. Oh, it'd be social. Duelist. That looks cool with the cheetah with a cheetah chipmunk tail. That is awesome. Where does your honor stem from? Is violence a necessary evil? Oh, okay. That's cool. So different than fighter, because fighter is just like, let's just fight and I'm good at that. Duelist is very much poise. The fighter to the duelists, or to the fighters, barbarian, to use 5e parlance. Choose a gender. Edge, hawk, whistle, banner, grenade, honor, glaive. That's actually really cool. Tranquil, bullseye, and X. I like that. Choose a look, choose a past. Okay, choose a dream. I will regain my honor. I will get my revenge. I will train a pupil of my own. That's really, really cool. Choose a power, bladed arms, plated armor. Okay, so these are named, and they're probably named later on, like they say, with a full list. Improvise. Use the environment to your advantage during combat. Drop barrels on your foes. Okay. Use focus as a role. Support. Gain a unity point when the family member comes to you for protection or is in a pinch and needs you for a daring rescue. Bond with your Kieran by teaching them new tricks, keeping them well groomed, presentable, with a high fancy, and sharpening their claws so they're ready for battle. Fisher. Nice. What do you see that others don't? Choose a gender. Worm, salt, mist, anchor, lily pad, chum bucket, seaweed, squid, pearl, crab, shark, tsunami. That's cool. Choose a past. Oh my god. I was unable to feed my family. I fell overboard and into the below. Oh my gosh. Wow. Unique skill is trap and bait. Use bait to set elaborate traps for foes of all kind. Describe what the bait is. Trap's effectiveness isn't determined until an enemy is near, at which point you roll focus to see how successful it was. Okay. Gain a unity point when a family member needs your help laying a trap, comes to you for fish to feed the Kieran, or seeks your knowledge of marine life. Gain a unity point when you bond with your Kieran by feeding them all of the fishy scraps that you can find, sitting and staring at the clouds together for hours on end, or preparing delicate rolls of sushi for their enjoyment. Oh god, that sounds so good. Oh, I'd love that for dinner. Oh my god. Anyway, Jester. Okay, so this might be more bard, more, what am I thinking of? What is it called? Crazy Manic Pixie Girl? That trope. It seems like it, but I don't think it has to be. Choose a gender. Pinstripe, irony, sparkle, banjo. Cartwheel, ribbon, felicity, or humor. Choose a lark and a past. I was bullied for my poetry. Oh, what a bummer. I cracked too many jokes and they kicked me out of town. Boy, I just flew in this morning and my arms are tired. Get the fuck out. Get out of here. I will learn, choose a dream. I will learn to love my own work. Oh my god. Too real. Unique skill, perform. Okay. So I think this is very much, yeah, like style roll, it's charm, performances. Oh, okay. Oh. Different kinds for different points and purposes. Okay. Support, gain a unity point when someone asks you to liven up the space or comes to you to understand their bottled up emotions. Ooh. Gain a unity point by singing your Kieran lullabies, which puts them right to sleep. Dancing and stomping around whenever their saddle is off, watching their antics and laughing yourself silly, or playing their favorite song which calms them down. Oh my god. Jellyfish person. Oh my god. That's cool looking. Oh my god, and their skin is like see-through and wah! Crazy. That's awesome. Choose a gender. Rivet, warship, smokestack, data, static, lugnut, copper, asphalt, satellite. Choose a look, choose a past. I read all the books in town and needed more. Like, yeah, I just ran out of shit to read. Oh, I love that. Unique skill, invent. Assemble old world scrap into new and useful devices. So you roll focus, and then figure out what your invention is. Oh, and it can give you like +1 to relevant rolls and shit. Gain a unity point when a family member needs you to fix a broken thing of theirs or make them something new. Or seeks your knowledge of machines, science, or technology. Bonds, gain a unity point when you bond with your Kieran by building them toys and laser pointers to play with, digging through scrap piles of treasure, or turning off your power tools when they run and hide. Oh. Oh, poor guy. Scoundrel. Okay, very much the rogue. Choose a gender. Vodka. Oh my god, I know too many people whose gender is vodka. Arson, Scarlet, Twilight, Spectre, Razor, Shadow, Lockpick, and Zero. Choose a past. This was mischievous. Choose a dream. I'll pull off the biggest heist. Yep. Love that shit. Swindle. Okay, so yeah, like pickpocket, that kind of a thing. Okay. Gain a unity point whenever someone comes to you to confess their evil deeds or guilty conscience, or needs you for a job they aren't necessarily proud of. Bonds gain a unity point by stealing food and fish for your Kieran, playing hide and seek, playing harmless pranks on them out of love, or telling them secrets that nobody else knows. I like that. That's cute. That's cute. Wayfinder. Gender of hawk, frost, plaid, echo, condor, sunset, mustache, or horizon. I used to explore the below until that fateful day. Oh my god. Oh, I like this one. Oh, this would be mine for sure. I will locate the final resting place of Kiros, the original Kieran. God damn. Guide. Okay, so helpful to like not get lost and find stuff. I know a spot where. Okay. So yeah, kind of like the captain has connections. You'd be like, I have connections, but to natural places. That's cool. Gain a unity point when a family member comes to you for directions or to help them locate something, or seeks your knowledge of the nine skies and distant locales. Gain a unity point when you bond with your Kieran by watching the sunrise each day, exploring in places that you shouldn't be, or going on long walks with or without the rest of the family. That's cool. Okay, and let's kind of scroll through this. Oh, this shit looks awesome. Blade Hand! This shit is cool. Yeah, this is very... giving me big Cypher System vibes. Very much like, yeah, this is going to be wild and crazy. Run with it. I love this. Using mutations, gaining new mutations through advancement, or through like something that happens. Oh, he has a big old tentacle hand. Okay. Mutation list. Okay, all the different things. So like antennae. Insectoid or crustacean antenna. Smell what your Kieran smells. Navigate by scent alone. Pinpoint the exact origin of any scent with a successful inspect roll. Okay. Imitate the sounds and voices of others for beaks. Okay, that's super cool. That's neat. Bestial ears. Hear what your Kieran hears. So a lot of this is like, if it's something, yeah, like bestial eyes. See what your Kieran sees. That's really cool. Bestial legs. Sneak around unheard. That's really cool. I like that. These are all awesome. These all sound great. Scales of fur. Snout or fangs. Yeah, that's awesome. Static charge. His body hums with it. Tail of any kind. Talons. Use your talons to climb. And then wings. You know, wings. Yeah, fly short distances. Use your wings as a melee weapon in a duel. Oh my god, that's awesome. That's really cool. And powers. So, yeah, like mutations, you're going to get 2 of them. Everybody's going to get the same one, which is probably going to inform a lot of what the Game Master is going to have you interact with. In some way. Or like full knowledge, like if everybody's going to get wings, then yeah, like flying short distances, like jumping across chasms, never going to be an issue, right? Like never even going to be a check. Like, yeah, you got wings, you do it. But it is going to be an issue where like the chasm's real deep. You know, like it's a solid like 60 or 70 feet. So like it's going to be straining, but you can do it because you have wings. So it's something that you'll probably use a little bit more of. Or if the Kieran's nearby, you could use those wild points, tap into it. That's pretty cool. And then just an individual one. Which is nice too, because that's very based on player expression and kind of passives that they want. Like, this is, again, to bring it back to the Cypher system again, this is very much the how you want to interact with problems, how you want to solve problems. Your mutation can help you interact with the world in an almost passive way by just saying you're really good at these things, you're going to do these things pretty exceedingly well. Reactivating the power. Those powers last for the current scene and no longer. Maker of Pearl can remain for many sessions. Okay. Interpreting powers. So I guess they're meant to be pretty wild. Combining powers. Okay. Like Quill Thrower and Venom can easily be combined to create fearsome venomous quills. they require unity points. So do these require unity points to use? Yes, they require a unity point. You should state the intended use of the powers they do and a part of a roll, how it benefits them. When used as part of a roll, powers grant advantage, so both 5s and 6s are counted as successes. Okay. So yeah, mutations are just a part of you. It's something cool you get, something cool you have, and then you move it along. Powers are like cool shit you tap into. Animal tongue, camouflage, cloud shaping, venom, Sub-Zero. That's awesome. Like animal tongue. So yeah, instruct local critters to spy, scout, convince a helper. Bladed arms, yep, you reshape arms, get an advantage to dual foes. Decay, oh my god. Crazy. I like this stuff. Jet stream, launch a powerful stream of water from your body. Okay. Magnetism. Maker of pearl. What does this do? Convert anything you touch into a slick, precious nacre. Nacre? How do you say that? Nacre? Also known as mother of pearl. Or mother of pearl, by rubbing your hands across it. Nice. That's really cool. Sea foam. Gain advantage to move when on the run as you slip, slide, and dash with grace. That's super cool. These are cool. These are awesome. That's very, very superhero-y. I like that a lot. Action. Okay, so here we go. Nitty-gritty. How to play. How to do the thing. Look at this boy. Collaborative storytelling. What is the weather like right now? Do the people here look friendly at all? Okay. So yeah. Doing things and doing stuff. So state an objective. Choose a skill. Players use their skills to achieve stuff. Set the stakes. Determine how difficult the action is now, any successes it requires. So yeah, and you're only looking for 6s. That's wild. Because I think the rate of successes for rolling 6s is pretty low. Especially if you're starting out, like if you're rolling your big stat and you have a skill point in it, you're rolling 6 dice. According to this game, like your main stat is at a 5. You put a skill point in one of your, one of your skills that's tied to your main attribute. So you're rolling 6 for that roll, plus like equipment and stuff, you might be rolling 7 or 8 die. But for something you aren't really trained in, man, you're rolling maybe like 3 or 4. And good luck to you. That's rough. If you roll no successes, things are looking bleak. You have 2 options. Call for your Kieran's aid and push your roll. Okay, this is something that's definitely in Year Zero engines. You spend a unity point. This ties the Kieran to the results of the action, so it must also mark a condition if you fail. Ooh. But you go kill it. I could kill the boy. Accept the failure and mark a condition. Failure should be a reflection of the task's difficulty, not the character's incompetence. Okay, so failure is usually going to always result in a condition. I hope that that doesn't make you worse at making checks. Success, if you roll 1 success, you achieve your goal. Flourish is 2 or more, so that's a crit. You get what you want and more. That's very common in a lot of Year Zero engines or freely published games. Is like usually you're just looking for like any 6, but if you get more, that's better. Yeah, here we go. This is the table that's found in Dragon Bang as well. So for like a skill that you're trained in, you're probably rolling 7 dice. So if you like for a 6 or higher, you're just looking for 72. But in a skill you're not really that trained in, you might be rolling 3. That drops it immediately to a 42. So with systems like this, you can even start to see there's massive gains immediately, right? Like 1 die, it's a 1 in 6 chance, 17%. 2, it's the immediate jump to 31, then 42, then 52, then 60, then 67, 72, 77. By the time you're rolling 9 to 10 die, the chance of you gaining at least 1/6 is a change of 3%. So you're really fishing for like those first 5 to 6 die that you can get. Very good die pool to have. And then, yeah, you're really trying to just like get there. Bonuses and penalties: add or subtract dice before the roll is made. We thought that before. That's the same thing. Advantage allows dice to succeed on 5 or 6, or for 5 and 6 is needed. So if you gain more advantages. Okay. Bonuses and penalties. Bonuses and penalties: add extra die to the roll. That's read up above. Using 2 powers in combination with each other provides great advantage, where 4, 5, and 6 all count as successes. So standard power is a 5 or 6, and combined is 4, 5, and 6. So combined powers. Pushing a roll. Setting the difficulty. Story may require 2 or even 3 successes for these actions. Most actions are only going to be a single success. Yeah. It's like difficult right from the get-go. It's just 1. Futile, 3 successes. Picking a lock and hanging from a rope while a sentry bot grabs at your ankles. Yeah, that's really rough. Okay, so that and flourishes, helping each other. Oh, so how does this works different? Symbiotes may provide assistance to each other. Certain actions, like carrying a heavy object, or searching through research notes. Helping a family member ties you to the results. If they fail, you mark a condition, you do as well. Players will be unable to help each other as the challenge affects them all simultaneously. Oh, okay, so as a group. Enduring a poisonous gas or sneaking through town. Okay. If a player rolls extra successes, they may use flourishes to grant their extra successes to another family member in need, helping them pass the check. Family conflicts. So conflicts within themselves. Okay, so just like stating a role. As the argument escalates, characters stand a chance of becoming heated, worried, and pushed to the edge. Okay, so it's like a roll-off. Conditions. Has 4 conditions that represent how they might be affected. Exhausted, injured, heated, and worried. A -1 penalty to all of their rolls. That's a bummer. That's probably the first thing about the system I really don't like. Because a lot like exhaustion in D&D 5e, that suddenly means that you are worse at everything. So as soon as you start to fail, you will continue to fail. Because a -1 penalty is the same as a +1 bonus. You're adding or subtracting dice. So because getting to 5 or 6 dice is so incredibly important, as soon as you try something and fail, it is harder for you to be successful at that thing that you're trying to do. So then trying to do either something else is still even worse. So at that point, like, skills you're only kind of good at, or areas of your character that you're only kind of good at, or you might start with 2. As soon as you gain a condition, I imagine players are just going to turtle immediately. When they fail, players choose telling lies to a loved one or sifting through harrowing documents. Instruct. Okay, so then what happens when players get all of these? Removing conditions. When they spend unity points to console each other at the end of the session during dinner time. Consoling a family member removes one of their conditions. Okay. The requirements listed on the previous page, such as food, rest, or encouragement, must be satisfied. The actual material cost is important here. Okay. When all 4 conditions are marked, the symbiote becomes frenzied, and their bestial qualities boil up to the surface. They're no longer entirely human. They may speak, but only in grunts, hisses, whines, and barks. Player must roll to endure this, which is already at a -4. So you're rolling 4 less dice to make an endure check. So again, like, if you get to this point, you're probably going to fail this check. You may not push it. On a successful roll, the symbiote retains their humanity but continues to be frenzied. If they fail, the symbiote becomes feral and rapidly transforms into an animal, shrinking in size. The character is retired from play, and the player must make another. Okay. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. It just punishes failure more. It doesn't create interesting narrative compulsions that the player has to figure that out. Like, you know, like a player that might be worried is suddenly unable to like help someone else or like interact with the world in a certain way, or maybe they can't use a power for a check, or like exhausted might mean like you can't use equipment, heated might mean you can't use powers, injured might mean you can't use mutations, things like that to like add to checks or that you would normally use to like get through situations. Worried might means you can't like focus or like call upon the Kieran's aid or something like that. I'd appreciate that more than I would just negatives. It doesn't seem, if I was being more critical, I'd just say this was lazy, but this doesn't seem lazy. It just seems punishing. Because players do get like a lot of pluses. They can get pluses from equipment and powers and all this extra stuff. Like, yeah, you get all these cool benefits and bonuses. So it might not make that big of a deal when you get one condition. But dice in this game are scary. And again, you get -4. So when you go feral, your death saving throw is an endurance check, which I think is might. So if you aren't a might character, this is already difficult. You're probably rolling at least 1 die to make a check, and at that point it's a 1 in 6 chance whether or not your character stays at the table or transforms into an animal. That's wild. That's really wild to me. Because that's real punishing. I imagine players are going to just like go through characters and go through Kieran's very quickly. Yeah, unless there's ways, like, again, you can spend Unity points to get rid of them. And as far as I know, Unity points seem to be generated by working with one another and interacting with one another and how that works out and that whole chestnut. So that probably exists there for a reason. It's probably easy to remove conditions, I imagine, so long as players are working and like role-playing as a family. But still, that's real punishing. Real punishing. Progress plans. Draw a line for a stem. This is experience. It can be curvy or straight. Draw a number of leaves on it equal to the number of successes required. The leaves can be round or almond shaped or take on any other fantastic silhouette. Whenever a player rolls 1 or more successes, fill in that many leaves on the progress plan. Start from the bottom and work your way up. Multiple successes against a progress plan do not provide flourishes unless they exceed the amount required by the plan. Whenever a player fails a roll, the family suffers a consequence. They lose equipment, Kieran marks a condition, or they surrender to the challenge in a way that ends the progress plan. If players' combined successes fill every leaf, the event is over, and the family emerges victorious. Their pursuer has given up, the weather has calmed, or they have completed their task. Okay. So this is clocks. Okay. So this is clocks. But then whenever you complete one, you level up. They suffer a consequence, so pick one each time a roll is failed. Kieran marks a condition. Family loses 2 equipment points. They lose an upgrade. Gains a flaw. Escape into the below. Or make up your own. Okay. Pressure plants. The same idea behind progress plants can also be used to represent mounting tension with pressure plants. Rather than tracking successes, pressure plants track failures. They are inverted from progress plants, so situations with fewer leaves will escalate more quickly. Common examples are stealth, like sneaking onto a warship, or chaos, like the city police confronting. Okay, so this is clocks. This is the clock system. But they've tied this to level ups. They've tied this to advancements. Right? Let's look at the table of contents here. We're at 108. Let's see here. Looking around on the side here. Advancement. Players spend Unity points. They're added to the Kieran's growth plant. Okay, different. I thought it was that same thing, but it is very different. So progress plants, not a growth plant. Okay, different. Progress plants in difficulty. Okay. Flourishes in difficulty. Probably add more fixed difficulty. Provide a real sense of danger. Rolls against fixed difficulty threats require an amount of successes above 1, regardless of the actions used against them. Okay. Wow. Unity points represent the family's strength as a unit. Their connection to nature and the bond shared between symbiotes and their Kirin. They're shared between each family member. Those gained by one family member may be spent by another. Family begins each session with none, but they can be quickly gained through travel tasks like cook lunch or small moments of roleplay. Certain bonds with the Kirin, like watching the sunrise together, can occur off-screen as a way for the family to begin with a head start. They gain towards the Kirin's. When Unity points are spent, they grow towards the Kirin's growth plant. Okay. So you gain one when you bond, when the Kirin bonds with one of the symbiotes, or the symbiotes go to each other for support. Okay. So it might be easy to gain these and get rid of conditions. You spend them to call for aid, activate a power, or remove a condition. Okay. And here we go, the growth plan. Symbiotes grow in powers or familial bonds are deepened. Whenever players spend Unity points, they're added to the Kirin's growth plant. A tracker the functions like other progress plants are. The growth plant's first 5 leaves are filled. The entire family gains an advancement. The growth plant is then reset, and 2 more leaves are added. Plant continues to grow, counting in odd numbers intervals. Okay. So just using Unity points. So you want to use Unity points to then do that. I get the feeling here that immediately this is not a game for min-maxers or people that are a fan of that kind of a thing. Because then everybody's like, oh, we spend time with the Kirin at every possible moment. And that's it. We don't even want to go on an adventure. We just want to spend time with the Kirin. And then, you know, go into a situation, use all of your powers, not worry about conditions, and just gain a bunch of shit. So you probably want to use, like, obviously this gets longer and longer the more you play. I imagine characters are like gaining an advancement maybe the first session, if not the second session. And then after that, it, you know, obviously spans out, probably doubles at that point, like every, you know, 3rd or 4th session, then every 5th or 7th session, just depending upon how many they get. I imagine too, game masters would probably want to limit like who's going to interact with the Kirin for that day, if anybody's going to, or remind people. People might just be like, oh, I do it all the time, and or even that, like, I do it every morning. Every morning I watch the sunrise with the Kirin, bond, and gain a Unity point. As a game master, I would be inclined to say, no, you don't. You have to tell me that you do. You have to make that choice. You have to remind yourself to do that. Because Unity points are so powerful by the sound of it. Bonding activities, support. You know, we've seen that before, calling for aid. This is just going deeper into what we've already seen before. Consoling others in order to get over conditions. Wild points. Here we go. To gain wild points as a Kirin, you must act out one of your personalities and mark a pressure plant. Mark 1 leaf and gain 1 wild point in the process. If there aren't any active pressure plants, create one that best fits the scenario. You can remove a leaf from a progress plant by complicating the family's efforts instead. Oh, okay. So they'll just complicate a situation. So they're gaining wild points, which is good for the Kirin, but kind of bad for everybody else, right? So let the Kirin be. So if the family chooses not to intervene, the Kirin is allowed to live to its fullest. Mark 2 leaves on a pressure plant or remove 2 from a progress plant and you gain more wild points. Tame the Kirin with a Unity point. So you bring it back in. Spend it, so you spend a Unity point to like have it not get worse, or roll to command it and have it stop. Extra successes are converted into Unity points. The Kirin is grateful you're looking out for it. On a failed roll, the animal spirit is crushed. Mark 2 more leaves as the beast acts out in frustration. Okay. Wonders. By using their wild points, Kirins can produce fantastic and otherworldly effects. Okay. So, yeah, that's why you'd want to do that. You'd want to act as your Kirin to Yeah, wonders are used as deus ex machina, a guiding hand that helps wrap up loose ends or give the players a leg up. Okay. And each wild point provides a single success. Which, yeah, can just be the success of a check. Like, don't even need to roll. The Kieran uses a wild point. Actually, who uses them? I guess the Game Master does. Equipment. Okay, so you got essentials. These will give you pluses, +1 bonuses, and things like that we've already seen before. The skills. Force, might, flourishes, and all that. There's dual might, endure, sneak, move, aim. Then there's command, which we've seen before. Haggle, charm. So this is just getting deeper into like the skills and what they'd be used for in certain situations. This is good for the Game Master to know. The open skies. Okay. And now we're kind of getting into like the Game Master section of it, which is like, here's how you're going to run some of this stuff. Oh, I like that. Oh, okay. World spine. Okay, so like this is just stuff that was like lifted up into the air. Okay. Oh, I like it. I really like that. Rule of cool. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, rule of cool. The session, building a session. Protect or rescue Kieran, protect nature, chase dreams, or even frolic. Solve a simple problem like the common cold or a missing shoe. Spend time bonding as a family. That could be cool. Like, very little like beach episode kind of thing. I like that. Protecting wild Kieran. Okay, and this is a great way to like, just as a game master, be like, I don't know how to run this. This game is too weird and crazy. And you just like, yeah, you just hang out. And here's things that you can do. Empyrean names for people. Oh my god, love this. This is amazing. This is stuff I need. That's awesome. Dinner time. And this is something here. Dinner is a family's time to rest and relax. It occurs whenever the family leaves the current region, typically at the end of a session, as a way to finish play and prepare for future sessions. What are they eating? Is this a campfire? Are there folding chairs set out, or is the family cuddled up with their Kieran? Spend the remaining. So, okay. So no Unity points are carried over. You spend the rest of the Unity points on the growth plant, so you can like build them up and just be like, boom, we level up. Resets their fish to 0. Resets their equipment points, 1 per each player. Recovers all marked conditions. Chooses prompts from a list below, and cherishes a moment together as a family. Dinner prompts. Reassure one another, state your longing or a wish unfulfilled, make a snide comment, reveal. Okay. And the rewards. Not always necessary, but they can incentivize and validate players' efforts. If you can, give the family an idea of what rewards are available in advance. So extra equipment points, a second trinket, faction support saddle upgrade, a helper. Okay. Choose a travel task to perform during the day. Okay, so travel is very much role played out. I like that. Travel task, cook lunch, gain a Unity point, bond with the Kieran, practice. Okay, so yeah, so even just then, like 2 people can be like, I'm gonna cook lunch, someone else is gonna bond with the Kieran, immediate 2 Unity points, so we're good for like 2 failures, or can use a power and fail, or what have you. Repair, chart course. Okay. Events. Okay, so you can roll for events. Weather. Encounters. Oh, I love that. All different biomes for the map that there was there. Oh yeah. Oh, and then weather. Oh, love that. Oh, and then leaves. Right. So like this is like a progress you're going to need a lot of. So like if weather is 1 through 3, it's an electrical storm. You need 9 checks. You need 9 successes to like get out of the area. Either the Kieran using wonders, or players using equipment, or making good solid checks in order to make it. And this has to be shared because on failed checks you gain conditions. So this can be really bad. Yeah, and encounters and all sorts of stuff. Love that. That's really cool. And different locations. Glacial. Oh, I like this. I like this so much. It's just like a place builder with all sorts of keywords. I love that. Keywords just to tickle the imagination. Just be like, yep, it's this, it's this. It's this thing, and you have it. and you have a place. That helps so many game masters. This is very, very helpful. This is amazingly helpful, actually. Cradles, factions. Ooh, the crown. I just want to read through these. Military panel, volcanic worship, artificers. Okay. Metropolis, robotic thralls. Okay. Kieran experimentation. Oh, the fell hunters. Oh, Agent Kieran. The Sylvans. Okay. That's really cool. The Magnate. Yeah, I love that side. Like, oh, a bunch of crates and get stuff here and offer sale and yeah. Okay, so yeah, like big, definitely, yeah. Idols of Excess, pirates. Okay. Libertalia, the pirate city, and then the Below. Oh, I love this. Love this kind of stuff. That looks great. Oh, they do explain bright fog. Oh, with the bomber. The Drowned. Oh my god. Oh, spooky. Oh, spooky. That's nice. Joining the Below. Oh, shit. Visiting the Below. Okay, like, yeah, making a place in the Below. I love that picture. Yep, like, top of skyscraper might have barely made it out, and everything underneath it is screwed. Threats from the Below. Okay. And Imperia expanded, so threats, helpers. Oh my god. Those are the Kelpie hearts, the power ships. Oh. I hate it, but it's so cool. But I hate it. But it's so cool. Okay, so yeah, robotic threats. We got these. Oh, okay, so these are okay. So threats, NPCs, beasts, extra stuff, NPCs. Oh, ooh. Variants. Okay. Kieran variants. Oh my god, Heart Eater. Oh, Smog Lung. Kieran that's been driven to the brink of madness by human pollution. Oh my god. That's like really cool boss. Promethean. A constructed abomination assembled from old world robots and scavenged human remains, given new life by a Kieran's beating heart. Oh my god. Man. Okay. And then there's people, places, things. All sorts of stuff. Oh, and these are contributed by people. Ooh. Oh, this is probably Kickstarter goals. Because this was on Kickstarter in order to get going. And example kitten. Or Kieran. Because yeah, people could have their pets also as Kieran as well. Houston. Noodle. Oh, look at Noodle. I like a Noodle. Bioluminescent kitty. I love that. River. Oh, that's cute actually. It's a little weird, a little uncanny valley, but you're like, oh, yeah, I see it, yeah. Sean and Gus, super cool. Sucks and Chihuahua, or Chichoa. Tatsu. Oh man, that's a good name for a kitty. That's a good name for a kitty. Example symbiotes, and I think these were probably backers. Ash the Apothecary, so like NPCs if you want to have them, or just be like, here you go. Like here's an NPC that you can have, and just oh yeah, full on yeah. Your mutation is you are a centaur. Shit. Grease the mechanic, Cat the Apothecary, just the jacket, and then all the backers. Yeah. And then the index. Do they have a character sheet? Oh, and this is the literal author and designer and everything. That's fantastic. I'm actually going to read that part because we spent so much time with their their work today. I spent 2 hours with it, so I'm gonna read this. Thanks for playing Between Clouds. My name is Andy. I'm a queer artist, writer, and designer based out of Olympia, Washington. One of my great joys is building original worlds, and while I've long considered making comics or novels, I enjoy creating role-playing games for the stories that other people are able to tell within them. Art for me is a form of escapism, and I love seeing my peers lose themselves in something beyond our shared reality. After I completed my first project, Soulbound, Dark Industrial Fantasy, I wanted to take a break from tabletop games. The idea for Between Clouds kept popping back into my head, however, and I couldn't resist the urge to explore the concept. Made some artwork just to feel it out and started imagining what life on Imperia might be like. But then it was already too late, the game had been made. I launched a Kickstarter, and you probably found me building bridges on Twitter, prancing around my mechanic horns. With Between Clouds complete, I'm going back to school to finally pursue my love of electronic music. Nice! Everyone wants to be a pop star. I'll still be creating games on the side, and I suspect I'll be for the duration of my good long life. I simply can't stay away. If you play any of my games, don't be a stranger. Look me up online, shoot me an email. I'm just like any other queer art nerd in their late 20s, so come say hi. That is great. That is fantastic. Good for you, Andy. That is awesome. And then a cheat sheet for travel and things you can do, travel tasks, combat encounters, consequences, okay. Yeah, we didn't really get too much into combat. I think I might have skipped that section. All right, well, let's go back to 1 and just give some closing thoughts before the stream's over. And again, we're going to be looking at this stream is almost over. We're going to shut off the stream, but then we're going to come back online in a few minutes while I reset everything and set everything up again and take a look at Fabula Ultima's Game Master section and talk about my experiences running that. So if you have any questions about any of that, feel free to pop up and ask a question. Oh, my voice is tired. Between Clouds. This is my jam in so many ways. It's just entirely my jam. It's very imaginative. I feel the same way with this as I felt when I learned about Wildsea existing. I really love the idea of like a crazy ass world that's like fallen to ruin or something happened. Something fantastic occurred that allowed life to continue in ways that we could not possibly believe to be true, but could possibly imagine. I love the idea of this. The idea is very Avatar, like you are bonded to this beast that has a personality. I love that the Kirin is played by the Game Master, so they have like a character as well. And I like that their role-playing grants them successes to help players out. So in that way, I would also say like they can help the Kirin survive by using wild points and role-playing them out a little more. They could what am I thinking of? Use that to gain automatic successes so that players don't suffer conditions. So there are some ways that this is a little bit more forgiving than I thought it was. Initially, when I see that, like you got 4 hit points, if you hit them all, you're screwed. I think that's real hard. I think having to make a roll when you're already at negatives is pretty harsh. I would probably say you endure without any penalties. Like it's the last check you could potentially make, so you don't suffer the -4 penalty that you are suffering from the conditions. And I would probably even say like conditions have extra things attached to them instead of minuses, so that you can still make checks in the game, but you're limited in other ways that especially benefit the narrative of those conditions and still provide meaningful drawbacks to having a condition. Or even using, I love that the inventory point system is used for advancement, and I love that it has to be between players. Like, you can use a unity point for a cool power that you have, but to recover a condition, someone else has to use it and try to comfort you, and you can't do it on your own. I really do like that. I love the idea of found family. I'm a big believer in that idea for sure. I love the idea of the Kirin and how they look and act and the creation of that. I love the setting. The setting is wild. I love the setting. It's bright, it's colorful, it's not grimdark, it's not really grunge unless you really want it to be. Setting for this is fantastic. I absolutely love this. I adore this game and the system. The color palettes, everything about it is phenomenal to me. I love this. The idea is so good. It is so good. The idea is so great. Rules light without being mechanically boring, and where the mechanics serve narrative, mechanics drive the narrative in ways that I really like. I like that travel is played out. I like that travel and resting are positions for roleplay, but also have mechanical benefits to them. Not many games do that. They either say like, you stop and rest, and you could roleplay then, sure. Or things like the One Ring, where like travel from hex to hex, travel around Middle Earth is literally a series of checks. Everybody has a job, and you just roll those out. So I like that it's a little bit of both. And that is narratively simplistic. You can believe what it is that you're doing, even as you're a centaur person, or someone with gills and like tentacles for hands and shit. Like, I really like that. I like that. I love the expression of gender in this game. I think that's phenomenally cool. I love everything about it. It's, for my personal tastes, it's a little too queer for me. But even then, I think as a player, I'd probably rein it in for my own character a little bit. But as a game master, I just go ham. I wouldn't even care. I'd be like, what do you want to do? You want to do some crazy shit? Absolutely. Let's go. Let's roll with it. But yeah, I think as a player, if I was to ever play this, I'd probably be more straight-laced, just because I myself am. For one-shots, I'd probably go more ham and probably do some crazy stuff with character creation. But that's just because with the Kieran and character powers and mutations and all that being so cool, I would get very easily attached. So that's my take on Between Clouds. It's a very, very first impression. Very lazy first impression. This game is not lazily built at all. This game is quite good. Quite good. If you want a PDF of this, you can get it from... You can search for Between Clouds, and that's available through their website. The designer Andy Licht has, or Licht, has a website where you can get all this information, as well as their previous game that they said that they made. This is also available through TTRPG, and another website you could search for, like Between Clouds Physical Edition. I think it's Diracorn, Rise of the Diracorn, something like that. It's a website that sells other indie TTRPGs, and there you can buy a physical book, as well as the official Between Clouds RPG website. There you can buy a physical book as well, and I think they're available in hardcover and softcover. I'm not sponsored by them. This isn't a sponsored stream. I just want to support indie game designers wherever I can. So that's what we're talking about this. So this game sounds great. I would love to run a one-shot of this. I think it'd also be really easy for people to run. This is a very friendly game to start running. So it's really good if you're interested or curious and you want to try running TTRPGs. This is a really good shot for you to do so in a really imaginative environment that's just super easy and relaxing and chill. That's my take. My voice hurts. I'm going to end this stream for now. If you want to stick around, in a couple of minutes, we're going live in the same place again, but we're going to be talking about Fabula Ultima, so we'll be bringing that on screen, going through the Game Master section a little bit, and then talking about things that I've learned about running games of Fabula Ultima, like how to introduce character creation, how to do that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in that, or have questions about Fabula Ultima at all, stick around, and I will be more than happy to answer any of those. But until then, thank you for joining me for today. These streams are always a little weird. They always do. The other one I did really well in post. Not a whole lot of people showed up live. That's fine. I'm just glad to get this information out there and show people more of these bitchin' looking games, because this is awesome. So be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I hope you stick around for other TTRPG stuff that we do in the future. If you'd like me to do other TTRPG stuff, let me know. Or if you're a designer of an indie TTRPG and you want to talk or have a chat or anything like that, or talk about your game system or what have you, like, that'd be cool too. I always love talking to other designers and picking their brains and stuff, because they're folks just like you and me. They're just, creative as hell and are doing cool shit. So I love giving those folks a pedestal whenever I can. But until then, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Have a great week and the rest of your night. If I don't see you in a few minutes, and I will see you when I see you. Have a good one, everybody.